Hi, how are you? Thank you for meeting with me today. Again, my name is Karen Ramirez, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker here at the Community Mental Health Clinic. Before we begin our work together, I would like to go over a few important points about confidentiality, okay? Specifically, the limits of confidentiality and what that means for you. How does that sound? Good? Okay, perfect. So my goal is to make sure that you feel informed and safe so that you can engage in the therapeutic process together with confidence, okay? And feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions, okay? It can be a lot of information in the beginning. Okay. So everything you share with me during our session is considered confidential, and that means that I won't share your personal information with anyone outside of this clinic without your written permission. However, there are a few exceptions, right? Times when I'm legally and ethically required to make a report, especially when there are concerns about your safety and others, okay? And these are called limits of confidentiality, okay? And I want to make sure that you understand each one of them clearly. So the first one would be if there was a situation where you tell me about any current or or any recent abuse or neglect involving a child, an elderly person, or a dependent adult, okay? In those cases, I'm legally required to make a report to the appropriate protective services, right? And this applies to whether you're the person experiencing the harm or you're concerned about someone else's safety. And the purpose is always to protect vulnerable individuals from further harm. Do you have any questions about that? No? Okay. The second situation will be if you were to ever share with me that you're having thoughts about harming yourself, okay? First and foremost, I want you to know that this is a safe space. You can talk to me about those feelings, and I'm here with no judgment, okay? But if I were to believe that there's an immediate risk to your safety, I may need to make a report to help keep you safe, okay? And that could mean contacting an emergency contact, a mobile crisis team, or maybe even local emergency services, okay? If that ever happens though, I will do my best to include you in that process and explain every step. How does that sound? Okay. So the third situation is if you were to share with me that you plan to harm someone else and that person is easily identifiable, meaning that I can reasonably figure out who that person is, okay? In that case, I also have a legal duty to take steps to protect them as well, okay? That may include contacting them directly or just notifying law enforcement, okay? Again, if this only applies if there's a serious and immediate threat, and I will keep you informed throughout that process as well. Do you have any questions about that one? No? Okay, remember, I'm here to keep you safe and to keep those around you safe as well, okay? And the last situation is if your case becomes involved in the legal system, right? In some cases, a judge may issue a subpoena, which is a court order that legally requires me to release certain records or even testify in court. If that were to ever happen, I'm going to let you know as soon as possible so that there will be no surprises, okay? And I'm going to explain to you what's being shared. All right. I also do want to mention that as part of our clinic's collaborative approach, as I mentioned in the beginning, I may consult with my colleagues or supervisors to ensure that I'm providing you with the best care possible. And these conversations are also kept confidential within our treatment team, okay? And they are only shared on a need to know basis. So they won't be knowing every personal detail or information about our sessions, again, only on a need to know basis. Is that okay with you? Perfect. I know that was a lot of information, okay? And you don't have to remember all of it right now. What's most important is that you understand your rights and when I will need to make a report. Involve others as mentioned, and this is to ensure your safety and those around you, okay? If anything ever feels unclear now or any point while we work together, please don't hesitate to ask, okay? That's why I'm here. I want this space to be one where you feel respected, understood, and ultimately feel empowered, okay? So thank you again for taking the time to go over this with me. I know it was a lot of information, so I will be providing you with copies of our confidentiality and release forms. You can go over them at your own pace, and then during our next section, if you would like, we can discuss as well, okay? So thank you again. I'm looking forward to working with you and supporting you on your journey.